for joining me once again at Everything AeroPilates. So right now I have a 4-cord and a 5-cord next to each other. This is a small frame 4-cord. This is a 358 plus model. And you can see in the background that it has the pull-up bar. And this is like, there were two models, 357 and 358, that they sold together. And it has this beautiful print on the bed. This is a peacock blue. And then we still have the same 5-cord, which is a 5102. This is one that's available right now for purchase. You may purchase this at staminaproducts.com. You may purchase it on eBay, new or used, refurbished, which is what this model is. And HSN, I believe, is sold out at the moment. I don't know if they're going to get more in. But I'll put the link down there below just in case they do get more in. So the reason I have this model is because you could buy it right now if you like it. And it's this pretty tan. It's a very neutral color. But this is my 4-cord that I use. And I wanted to compare them and let you know. To start out, I was surprised to see that the 4, 3, and 5 cords, they all have the same length. They're 7 feet long. And they did that so that it could rate for people who are 6.5 feet all the way down to 4.5 feet. And you can do it if you're shorter than 4.5 feet, but you may not get the full range of motion. Now, I also have a little bit of trouble doing the full range of motion on a 5-cord, which I've already discussed how I haven't told how I hack that, but I will show you that in a different video. But this machine is already hacked, and you can see it's even a little lower than this 4-cord platform. So I get like an inch more in my 5 foot on this 5-cord because it's been, I did the little hack on it that I'm going to show you later, than even my 4-cord. And that was the same thing with the 3-cord. But normally the 5-cord would be back a little more. And because the platform is longer on the 5-cord, it's 37 inches. And I'm going to make sure the platform length on this 4-cord, but if it's like the 3-cord, the 3-cord was 35 inches. So it's 2 inches different, meaning if you are a little taller, and this one seems more like, yeah, 35 inches. So this is the same length this way as the 3-cord. And I didn't measure to the end of the headrest, I measured to the end of the actual carriage because that's where your body's going to be positioned. The same thing with this one. So 2 more inches makes a difference. If you're taller, you may not need to squat down as much. You may not be as comfortable on the 4-cord. Although I've read reviews of people that are even up to 6 foot, I was just reading, and they are comfortable on this. So I don't know where the height is. I think if anything, it would just give you a deeper squat on a 4-cord with a smaller platform. But if you're taller and maybe taller than that, 6 foot, you can go with the 5-cord or a larger 4-cord, which are the premier models, and you might be a little more comfortable. For sure, you get more space with the width. And I'm maybe even wider than this machine. So my arms go on the side right here when I'm working out, but they still rest really comfortably. Where I'm on the 5-cord machine, my arms can actually lay on the bed with me. That might be something that will help you decide which one to get. But let's just say you have a 4-cord model and you're thinking of upgrading to the 5-cord. What I'm going to tell you, you may not like. If you really want to, you have the money in your budget, go ahead and upgrade to a 5-cord. But I don't think it's necessary at all. And the only way it might be necessary is if you really want that extra width, like you just feel like you're overtaking this bed here, or possibly if you're super tall. But because the machines are both the same length, I don't really see how even the 5-cord could be even better for a taller person lengthwise. Now the permanent wood models that are still AeroPilates, but they're the permanent ones that you cannot fold up, those are definitely longer. And so if you're taller, you might enjoy those more. But I think I've read up to 6'4" on the 5-cord, having no problem using it. So I don't know, I mean, I don't know a lot of tall people, but I'm guessing that she said what Marjorie Bergman has said is that her designer partner in designing this was 6'6", and so they used him as the guide. And so I believe that, and I believe he was honest, you know, wanting people that were his height to also be able to get the full range of motion. So I have no reason not to trust that. So if you're 6'6", either of these machines would work really well for you. Now if you have a 4-cord, you're wanting to upgrade to the 5-cord, there's a couple reasons why you might think about that. One is the foot bar. The foot bar is not as wide on a 4-cord. This is a small 4-cord, or a 3-cord. And so maybe you don't get as much open in your hips. But I have a hack for that. And that's to, I'll tell you real quickly, is to get a pull-up bar. I show that in an actual video. and it is even wider than a 5 cord or the large Premier model foot bars. And so you have even more hip opening with a pull-up bar than you will with a 5 cord or a large 4 cord. So you don't have to upgrade for the wide hip opening. And they both have the big wheels. The only other thing that you might want to change out on a 4 cord is the double loop handles. But because this 5 cord has a really great double loop handle, but your 4 cord, you can change out the handles because it has D-ring. And AeroPilates has started to sell double loop handles separately. They're $39 right now. I don't know if that's going to change or go up. Obviously with tax and with shipping, it'll be a little more. But I think it could be worth it in the long run to have the double loop handles. But I'm going to show you a cheaper hack for that from just some cheapish handles. I guess cheap is relative, right? Handles from Amazon, and I'll show you those where those could work not as well, but still would work really well. So that's an option. That's one thing that you might have wanted to upgrade to this machine for, and you can just trade out those handles. The other thing, this machine came with a pole. You might want to pull. Well, you can use your broom, you can use your Swiffer sweeper, you can use your mop, you can use any of that as acting as a pole. Anything that, you know, your child's Nerf sword is strong enough to act as a pole for a lot of the arm exercises. It may not be as convenient, but I would use one of those for a while and see if you even wanted to upgrade to the pole. I have a pole video, you can check it out and see what you think. Especially the standalone pole that doesn't come with the boxing pole is only 36 inches. So its most use is to connect the straps for different exercises. And I'm pretty sure you have something around your house that can be similar, and it doesn't even have to be the full 36 inches, that can hook the straps and give you a variety to do with a pole. So look around your house, see what you have. And I don't know, the other upgrade, some people might say the padding. These feel similar paddings to me. The best padding I've ever felt on an AeroPilates foldable reformer was their 20th anniversary model, and that's the blue one with the swirl. It has amazing, amazing padding. And the other but there's a hack for that as well. You can cut a thick yoga pad and put it on to your carriage. Somebody did just cut the whole size of the carriage to give a little extra padding, or you can cut just like a little piece for your knees when you're using it for your knees. You can also lay a towel down, like a rolled up towel for cushion for your knees. So there's a lot of options that you could do to get a little more padding in spots, or if you want the whole padding for the whole thing, it's a $10 fluffy, cushy yoga mat, maybe $15. But around that price range, you cut it to the shape of your carriage, put it on, and you can even change the color of your carriage kind of like that. If you get a really pretty yoga mat, type cushy yoga mat thing, and it can even have a design on it. I mean, they have some really pretty mats that you can cut to size here, and you can even give a print to your reformer. So that is a hack that you can use for this 4 cord. Let's see. You have the pulley risers already on, I believe, all the 4 cord models. So that's another thing. You have the big wheels. The 5 cord and the 4 cord, all the newer 4 cords anyway, have the bigger wheels. The capability cord-wise for resistance on a 4 cord is you could have up to 6 cord capabilities if you turned all of these to red. And that would be, red is like 1.5 of the black, so that'd be 3 and 3, 6 cords. So this could be a 6 cord machine if you really needed that extra resistance and you wanted to try to build bulk. And that's not really what this machine is for, but it could be used for that if that's what you're looking for. But just remember to also take off some cords and do some stretching and do some balancing stabilizer muscle exercises as well as your mobilizers. And this, if you change all of the 5 cords out to red, you could have the capability of 7.5 cords. So you're only talking 1.5 cord more, and that would be really extreme. Marjolaine Bergman, who's extremely strong, she's been doing, if you see some of the videos that she has on AeroPilates, it's extremely advanced things that she can do. She is amazingly strong. And this 5 cord, she could barely push away. Now, she's also little, but she's extremely strong. So if you have maybe your husband and he's really trying to build bulk or something, or you're just really trying to build bulk for like a bodybuilder, and actually this is funny because I did just read a review about a female bodybuilder, and she had a 4 black cord, and she said she didn't think it was going to be enough, and she hasn't even tried it out for the red yet, but she said she was surprised about how much resistance it gave her. 4 cords when you're doing like hug a tree with 4 chords or serve the brownie with 4 chords, you are really putting some power into it. And she might eventually turn it up, change out to the red, is what her review said. And she has that option, and she has 4 blacks, so she could change out 4 reds if she wanted to and have a lot more resistance. So she has a lot of growth she can do with that machine, but she was surprised she didn't even use all the chords, and she was a body strength competitive bodybuilder female. So the male, if you change this to the 6 chord capability, I think it would be sufficient. You'd have to try it. And that could be something that could change, but your chords are only one way, or that could be one reason why you might want to upgrade to a 5 chord, but the chords are only one way to get resistance. You can also lower the pulley risers in the back, and then you can go from a sitting serve the brownie to up on your knees serve the brownie, and all of those make the exercise more difficult and give you more resistance. So the chords are just one of the ways to get more resistance in this machine. Okay, so I can give you one actual reason why you might want to upgrade to a 5 chord. And this is the absolute only one that I can think of. And that is if you, either a 5 chord or a large 4 chord, is if you want to get the ballet bar for the AeroPilates machine, it will not fit this machine. And that is the only reason that, for an excuse to upgrade to a 5 chord. Otherwise, if you like your 4 chord, or even if you don't like the carriage, and you could do the yoga mat. But if you like your 4 chord, don't think you're missing out on this 5 chord. I know it's exciting when they come out with new models. I know there's a temptation, and it's great, like if you just have money to burn, to go ahead and keep upgrading, and maybe you could give your 4 chord to a family member or to a friend, and you can absolutely do that. It's your personal choice. I just wanted you to know that there are options with this 4 chord that maybe you didn't think about that will maybe help you realize, no, I have a really great machine already. So if you promise it to somebody and then watch this video, maybe they're not going to get it now. No, you have to work that out. But just know that you don't have to upgrade. This machine is amazing. 4 chords are amazing. And a lot of the 4 chords now, all of the newer ones, have a black chord, a red chord, a yellow chord, and another black chord. So you already have 1 red chord in there. And in another video coming up, I'm going to change out, this is a 4 black chord reformer, I'm going to change out those 2 chords, a red and a yellow, because I want to try to get up enough strength to use that yellow chord, and I really do like having the red chord for different exercises too. So I'm going to switch out those chords in another video, but you have that option no matter what reformer you have. The arguments were, maybe the toe bar is not wide enough. You can switch that out for a pull-up bar. And it gives you even more width than the widest toe bar that AeroPilates makes. So you can really open up and do some wide plies, laying down with your body supported. It's amazing. The toe bar, the pull-up bar is great. Let's say you really don't like the top of your carriage. You can get a pretty yoga mat and change that color. And honestly, you can even really take this apart and do like a type of a furniture reupholstery on your AeroPilates carriage. Why not? Make it your own. That is totally a doable thing if you're handy. I'm not handy. That's why I buy the one that I like. But if I had this plain one, this tan one, I know it is a beautiful color, and I'm not saying that. I really like a cheerful, bright color, and I like patterns on the AeroPilates. So I could totally either reupholster that or get a pretty yoga type mat, cut it to size, and put it on there. I know probably some of you are like, no way would I do that, but it's an option. For your handles, the fluffy handles, you don't really like that system, no problem. Get the double loop handles, or get a random set of double loop handles on Amazon. Change it out at the D-ring, retie the ropes onto your new handles, and have those handles. Now these fluffy handles are super soft. The adjustment system is not my favorite, and sometimes you can see already from this one, this has been put together like 2 days, and you can see the strap is already kind of warped, where this is kind of wide and it kind of hangs out. So, that can get annoying. So if you don't like your handles, just buy different handles, retie them at the D-ring, and get that going. They both have the same headrest support. They both have the resistance of the pulley risers. And other than the width, if you're laying down and you're too wide, or if you're a little taller, the 4 chord, you might want that extra 2 inches on this carriage to give you a little more space. Maybe you don't want as much range of motion. You don't want as deep of a squat. which when you're supported on the carriage, you know, when you're standing on your body weight, you are not supposed to do too deep of a squat. You can absolutely hurt yourself, and your muscles are just not made to pull yourself up from a certain level. And you can train them to do that, but there's a certain level where you lose control and you can have trouble with falling. But here on the AeroPilates, you're laying down, so if you get those couple more inches of range of motion, you're just going to be able to build some muscle there. So I don't see a complaint about that. So let me know what you think. What do you think of the 4-cord versus the 5-cord? Is there a reason to upgrade? Did I maybe help you convince you to keep your own machine and maybe do some side buying? And for instance, if you're doing the pull-up bar, you can do that, you know, maybe a couple months down the road, but you know that you have the opportunity, you know that the ability's there. Maybe you want to put the yoga mat down, you can buy that at your convenience. It can be slow upgrades, but it's less expensive than upgrading to a 5-cord. Unless you find one really cheap on Craigslist or something. I guess Facebook Marketplace is what people use, or I heard about OfferUp. Maybe one of those places has one that's inexpensive, and then that's great. But otherwise, you know, your 4-cord is absolutely sufficient. It's the same length. It is going to do all of the same workouts. And with the pull-up bar, you can even do a wider hip than the 5-cord or the Premier model, and do those upgrades. So let me know what you think of the comparison between the 4-cord and 5-cord. Which one do you have? Which one do you want? Okay, see you next time. Thanks for joining me.